Who would be the leader of the Democrats right now? That's actually a very hard question to answer.
In 2028 could have the party looking for their own version of Donald Trump. Strategists say there's never been a better time for a political outsider to succeed. I guess they mean it like that. And they're throwing names around like billionaire Mark Cuban and sports commentator Stephen A. Smith, who was on the other day. I personally would.
One of those two men might legitimately be the leader of the Democrats right now.
This is our country. It's beautiful. We love it. I'm still part of the older generation. Love it or leave it.
Mark Cuban did a lot of campaigning for Kamala during her run, and he's still talking politics in public.
That had that idea would just stop. In this country, people move forward and start those businesses. And so that's what makes us different. It doesn't matter who the president is. Doesn't matter who the president was. Doesn't matter who the next president's going to be. Every single kid gets that feeling because they live in this country, and that's what makes us different.
And then the other one they mentioned there is Stephen A. Smith. I think this one is actually quite fascinating. I mean, he's a sports commentator, but he's very good at television. He's very good at getting eyeballs. And I also just think it highlights how weak the Democrat bench is, that people are actually considering that Stephen A. Smith is the leader of the Democrats.
Before we go, I want to mention that President Donald Trump will deliver an address tonight in prime time to the House and Senate lawmakers on Capitol Hill. The speech will resemble something like a State of the Union address. Meanwhile, Democrats today have gone out of their way to post messages on social media about the current Trump administration and what's happening to American lives. The problem is they're all literally saying the same damn thing. Don't believe me? Check it out.
I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
That ain't true. That's what you just heard. Since day one of Donald Trump's presidency, prices are not down, they're up. Inflation is getting worse, not better. The prices of grocery, gas, household
That actually worked pretty well in this video. I didn't even plan that, but this is showing a lot of NPCs, a lot of bots that are all the same in the Democrat Party. None of these people really, I don't think, are that outstanding. The View panel then discussed some more traditional options for the leader of the Democrats.
Idea?
Well, I think that someone that has experience, if we want to talk about meritocracy, let's have maybe a governor who's used to...
Like Pritzker.
Governor Pritzker, who's
from
absolutely
Illinois.
fantastic.
I like him.
I happen to like Gavin Newsom. I do think... I like Fetterman. I do think that Bashir is great. I think if you look at Hakeem Jeffries... You know, I like Hakeem. I think there is a field. There are a huge field of people with experience.
Amy Klobuchar,
Gretchen
Whitmer is there.
Gretchen would be great.
We've seen the past.
I think the person that they mentioned that's the most notable, has the most name recognition at least there, is Gavin Newsom.
Turning Point founder, CEO Charlie Kirk. Charlie, great to have you. So last night, I knew you were on the show tonight. I tuned in and I was listening to the podcast and I didn't get through all of it. But first of all, you were very gracious. You were very nice. You could have gone at him really, really hard. You did it in a really nice way. And I know Gavin too well. I've interviewed Gavin. I moderated, I think you brought it up, I moderated the debate with DeSantis. And I have tried to reason with this man, and he does not listen, ever. Maybe, is this the tipping point for him? Did you get the feeling he really wants to change?
I don't know. I think he wants to be president, Sean, more than anything else on the planet. I think you can agree he has more political ambition than almost anybody in the Democrat Party. And I think he understands that the entire country is moving center-right and is accelerating at a rapid pace. In fact, we are course correcting after 4 failed years under Joe Biden and all of the woke stuff and the anti-common sense movement. Gavin Newsom had me on his podcast, and I was shocked all of a sudden where he decided to diverge.
I don't think we're done, by the way. I think the pendulum still has further right to swing
away from the orthodox opinion in the Democrat Party, which is as simple as saying that it's not fair that a biological man can compete in female sports. Now,
which was actually a very big deal.
Like, you right now should come out and be like, you know what? The young man who's about to win the state championship in the long jump in female sports, that shouldn't happen. You as the governor should step out and say no.
No, and I appreciate.
But like, would you do something like that? Would you say no men in female sports?
Well, I think it's an issue of fairness. I completely agree with you on that. So that's easy to call out, the unfairness of that.
It's actually a big deal, though, because Democrats continue to vote against bills that would bar trans people from women's sports.
You know, I sat up last night trying to think of a word to describe what happened yesterday to girls and women across this country. I still hadn't come up with it. Amazing to me that anybody would be against girls and women's sports. But that's what happened yesterday for the third time since I've been here, going on 5 years.
Now, number one, I don't believe that he actually has any heartfelt beliefs in this. I think it's purely political transactional. However, everybody in the audience should understand this means that we are winning at such a rapid pace that the governor of the largest state in the country, the largest Democrat state, who obviously wants to be president, has to adjust his policies against the base of the party to even be taken seriously to run for president in 2020.
It's actually a good point. In my adult life, the Republicans, the right wing, I don't think has ever won this much. I still think there's more to come. As I said, I think the pendulum could still swing and probably will, if I was to predict, further right. Charlemagne and Andrew Schultz had some very funny comments talking about just how weak the Democrat bench is.
Republicans are playing a very interesting game because they're playing, it's like trying out a new offense because you know the other team's defense sucks.
That's right. That's a good ass point.
I can fuck up. I can fumble. I know they can't recover the goddamn
that's a
ball.
great ass point.
I can try this person at this position. I can try this person at this position. We can just fucking run through them because they don't have no fucking defense.
They don't even
to stop
have
us.
one person to be president.
Not one.
Son, the next Democratic president also is going to be doing first take. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? Is that the next Democratic hopeful also got to wake up every morning and be like, LeBron's not as good as Jordan. Every single morning, you got to do that shit.
Man, I saw
If you don't follow sports, he's talking about Stephen A. Smith there.
Bill Maher say that the next Democratic ticket, I don't know if you...
And look, I think the reason the Democrats are struggling so much, I would literally put this at number one, is because for 10 years, they just let the woke activists sort of take over the party, or at least parts of it, and everyone just had to sit there and pretend like all this woke stuff was so interesting, so profound. Okay, yeah, we'll try that. That sounds good. This crazy leftist policy. I think the Democrats are just dealing with all the turmoil and all the confusion that's caused now in their party.
He was being funny, but he had a real whole breakdown about it during New Rules.
What is that?
John Fetterman and Pete Buttigieg. That ain't gonna do it, bruh.
So he brings up those two people. I actually think the three leaders of the party would be one of those three people: Newsom, Stephen A. Smith, or Mark Cuban, which is wild to say. I mean, some other potentials for 2028, I guess if I had to pick, some people would probably argue Kamala, maybe Pete Buttigieg. And then some of the other ones like Andy Bashir or Josh Shapiro, I don't think they have the name recognition. Gretchen Whitmer, I don't think the average person around the country that doesn't live in one of the states that they live in, some of those sort of more establishment governors that aren't like that famous, I don't see it. I think name recognition is so important. I don't think it's just because of President Trump. But anyway, with that said, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. I'll finish the video here. Have a great day.